Let's get the pledge of allegiance. Would you join us for pledge of allegiance, please?
Yeah. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Well, we've got a full house tonight. A couple of guests in the interim there, so. We're gonna open tonight. We do have a Board of Assessors meeting. I'll call the Board of Assessors meeting for September 3rd down at Amersfoort to order. There's a couple of action items in there. We have an abatement and a supplement. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, either of those items?
Nope. I actually did have one question.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
And so the personal property tax, were those in effect generated from the letters you sent out?
All these new ones,
Yeah.
most likely, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, good question.
that's good. So
Yeah, there's some traction there, so. Cool, all right, everybody good, everybody good? Right, well, let's start with, I'll make a motion to move the abatements, 2026-1, 2026-2. Oh, wait, is that,
yeah, those are
that
the-
one, and we got a 20, wait, the supplemental's the name of the abatement.
It's four.
It's four, yeah, I was just reading the number down here is the same,
Those are the
2026-1, I didn't wanna read that off of there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, the numbers threw me
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
2026-1, 2026-2, 2026-3, 2026-4.
Second.
Oh, Tom's gonna second, any discussion?
Yep.
All right, all those in favor? Okay, and then we have the supplementals,
It's the good stuff.
the good stuff, he said, yeah, but it depends on what side of the checkbook you're on, but anyway. Yeah, I'll, if everybody's all right, I'll make a motion to move the, supplemental, 2026-1, 2026-2, 2026-3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, I'm not gonna read it all off, so we've all read it, so. No,
I'll second that.
motion, Darrell seconds. Okay, any other discussion on those? All good, all those in favor? Okay, good there. Any discussion on while we're in the Board of Assessors meeting? Is there anything to add? Okay, any of the assessors have anything to add? All right, well, who wants to adjourn that one? I'll give somebody,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
down, motion to adjourn by Dan.
Second.
Daryl's got a second, okay. Now with that, we'll call the select board, the town of Amersfoort to order for our September 3rd meeting and start out with some minutes. Tom?
Yes, well, as the chair of the minutes editorial board, I've been asked by Andrea to make a comment.
Oh,
She thinks you're getting a little creative with the indentations this time around.
Oh,
And
good.
I would like to compliment you though for saying that my punctuation edits last week were very punctual. Other than that, they
Yeah.
were fine.
We've been, for those in the audience, we've been having some fun with the. Sometimes it gets boring, so we've been, was a hard time, yeah, with semicolons.
We gotta make it interesting for her, you know? It's hard work.
Tom, do I hear a motion coming from
Yes,
your end
but-
down there? Yeah.
Despite those deficiencies, I will make a motion to approve the minutes
Okay.
of August 20th.
Do we have a second on Tom's motion?
Sure.
I think Andrew got that one. All right, thank you, Andrea. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right, your motion, they carry reluctantly, but it's. All right, financial reports. We have, payroll warrant number 9 and accounts payable, number 10. Everybody got a chance to look? Any questions, comments, concerns, anything? Okay, I'm good. I'll move payroll 9. And a call for a second, I guess that one. I saw you, I heard her, so you, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I'll go with Andrea. See you in a second. Oh, Samish. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? All right, good there. And then we have, accounts payable number 10. I'll move, AP number 10.
Second.
All right, thank you, Tom. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. All right, I forgot, Andy, before I move along, you had something added to the packet, correct?
I did,
I meant to bring that up.
add it now.
Yeah.
You had an email, yesterday, I think from me, we got in a timely fashion this year, notice for the call for the caucus for District 3, for the Lincoln County Budget Advisory Committee. And they're holding that meeting Thursday, the 11th at 3 p.m. at the Lincoln County Courthouse. There's generally the ability to have 3 representatives from each district. Included in District 3 is Alna, Damascotta, Jefferson, Dresden, Newcastle, Somerville, and Whitefield. Current member includes a board member from Whitefield only. So there is room. They encourage all board members from each of those towns to attend that meeting at 3 p.m. on Thursday, which I did relay the challenge with that for some board members.
Tricky.
But
Do you
if-
think it will go? I have school that night.
I can attend the meeting at 3,
Okay.
but I can't necessarily be on the committee, but I can attend the meeting and represent.
I think Dan said he would be on the committee.
Yeah, make a motion that.
I'll attend the meeting.
The third page or
Yeah,
second page, however you wanna look at it, in the handout I gave tonight includes, that Dave Rebecca shared, which was. Kind of a general, proposed schedule for the budget process for the county, starting. With letters being sent out in August, and then the meeting for the caucus on the 11th, and then. They typically do their budget work for the committee in one sitting. Which they currently have scheduled for, is it October 17th? And the treasurer is able typically, and historically, able to get the committee to work through the whole budget at that point. There are a couple things like the insurances, quotes haven't come out at that point yet usually. They don't usually approve it. The commissioners ultimately approve the budget. But that doesn't usually happen until December.
okay.
Just as I know last year we missed the opportunity to even potentially.
Yeah, didn't they come in like right before, like the next day or something,
Yeah.
or right afterwards, something like that, yeah.
Any questions on that?
No, I think we heard Dan said you can attend.
I can,
Yeah,
I can
but
attend the
you're-
meeting on the 11th and
Yeah,
and
okay.
the 25th, but I can't do the 17th.
But not be, okay,
So,
I mean, that's, at least some of the visitation anyway,
Yeah,
so yeah,
yeah.
that's great,
Yeah.
okay.
I think Michelle, the treasurer, had said that it's been a long time since they've had a full committee. So
Yeah,
I always encourage more to join.
gotcha, okay. Well, it's a start anyway, if you can, yeah, check it out, and thank you, Dan. All right. Okay. Then let's go through, did anything come in, I don't see anybody, no hands up there, do we have any, general citizens comments or general correspondence from the crowd? No hands, yeah? What's that, you hiding back there, you good? Yeah. All right, well, we can move on to, Andy's, manager items. Does anybody, anything jump right out, anybody have any questions or anything regarding this overview? Anyone hit on some highlights? Oh, yeah, then go ahead.
I mean, you can hit on highlights. if you want. Mhm.
Before.
No, it was just the question I think we've all heard a lot about taxes and traffic. Those are the two Ts in the last couple of weeks. Yeah, is what's sort of dominating conversations, so, but just in terms of the taxes, I was thinking about the budget committee, and we had talked about a couple months ago of sort of putting together the budget committee selection recommendations sometime in September. I don't suggest doing it tonight, but but maybe next meeting. If that
Yeah.
makes sense, and I don't, and you had talked about how you had been encouraging some folks to, put their name in the hat, and,
Yep.
I'm just curious if, how many folks have actually done that?
To my knowledge, I haven't seen any additional ones. One of the four that had reached out originally, I don't think I've ever heard back from again.
Oh,
But
But
isn't it full already?
nope, there's room for, I think, 3.
Oh,
Yeah, I think so.
I believe.
We're
I'm not
full
sure,
of you.
Leslie, at the counter, if folks have, you've been mentioning, generally been mentioning it to folks as they come in and have questions, and those that express potential interest in participating, the staff are pretty good about offering up different
Nice, yeah.
options, which range from join the budget committee to attend town meeting, or just come to a regular board meeting, but I'm not sure if it's.
Especially if they've had questions about taxes. We've definitely said, you know, please come join us if you get the town meeting.
Yeah.
And we've got some available spots on the budget committee, if you wanna become more involved.
Yeah,
We're
awesome.
talking it up.
Yeah, so we should put whatever the short list is, or Andy has a list.
Or if
tag
there's
on the
more.
next.
Maybe the next meeting.
Yeah.
So,
That would be good then, yeah.
I think that's what we said September.
Yeah, we were gonna wait a little bit and see, yeah, give some folks a chance, because there's no gray area on it, so we're at that point now, then. We need to get it for next one, yeah.
Okay.
Now.
They didn't come voluntarily, should have put forever.
Well, you got 2 weeks to recruit some people.
Yeah. All is out there.
I'm wondering the PPI under the capital projects. Update, that's the planning partnership initiative with the MDOT, around the
okay.
business route 1 improvement.
All right, you got it.
Oh, actually, I did have a question on that too. 'Cause I went and looked at the RFP just for fun, and in the Disney do today,
They were,
at 3 o'clock.
they were.
Did you open?
There are six respondents to the technical bid. The way this process works, which is different than, I don't know if you've ever had one quite like this, but working through the LPA process, following the state guidelines, we solicit the technical proposals separate from the pricing
Yeah.
proposal. And so we go through the respondents and score them based on their technical
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
abilities. And then depending, whoever scores the highest, we then engage with them and ask them for their pricing quote proposal. And then work with them within the state's expectation of cost, to figure out how we can come to an agreement with the financial aspect of it. Typically, we
Mhm.
have the cost included and we do a combination of, cost proposal and capabilities. So slightly different, so this, it won't be as quick. We're gonna have to go through and score them and meet. And then engage that one.
Yeah.
If we can't come to an agreement with the highest qualified, respondent, then we move on to the next one. So that could potentially be 2 to 3 weeks probably
Yeah.
before
We go through and
just did that. Yeah,
Yeah,
so slightly different, and we'll do the same process on the review for the other RFP out, which is due next week for the culvert.
Yeah.
Culvert.
looks like the guys are making some progress on ditching and whatnot, looks noticeable.
I haven't seen them on Back Meadow, another over there.
Yeah.
Once they get through with that, they're
It's really good,
great.
really good, I drove
yeah.
up, yeah, it does, doing a really good job.
Fantastic. Hopefully the lights are effective for folks who we can't possibly dig, load, drive in, direct traffic, so. And
No,
we
two people.
rented the lights and it's, I think between the excavator and the lights for the month were about 9 or 10 grand. But we're able to make the most of it a month and chip away at some things that have been problems, and I think after they get through that, we do have Hammond Street, there's a culvert on that hasn't properly functioned for a decade. That we plan on replacing, it's a relatively easy street for us to be able to work on, it won't
Yeah.
impact any access. So we'll work on that at some point, presumably, and then some work on Heater Road, to try and get the water to flow where it should be along the ditch line, while they have it over there.
Good, yeah, that's nice to see, there's definitely some progress, so. Yeah. All right. We're all set with the manager report, we'll move right along here, so we do have a paving reserve request. For some, a whole bunch of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get back in the page here. Lots of stuff going on, so.
Yeah, provided a memo that includes more than what's being proposed for consideration for expenditure at the moment. For example, there's some work on Hodgson Street that we'd like to consider trying to overlay before the winter. These aren't meant to be, I don't think any of these, with the exception of the first few 175 feet roughly of heater road, none of these are meant to be major, capital projects. These are all meant to be repair jobs or temporary
Yeah.
short-term solutions like for Church Street until we can get the monies together to be able to do the larger project. We just don't want the plows, and other just traffic and breakdown happening with that asphalt's just, I mean, if you haven't seen the backside of Hodgson Street. Just take a look. It's, there's not a whole lot holding some of that together. If we can put an inch and a half over that, it'll keep it intact for a couple more years.
Need some time off of it,
And hopefully that's about, it'll line up with where we're at for, the major project.
Yeah, I see that back corner of Pine Ridge too. That's, if it hasn't been up through there in a while, that's pretty bad back in that corner, so.
Belvedere extension is slightly different in that surface really is in pretty good shape. The culvert just before Highway West's building needs to be replaced. So we asked for a quote from Crooker because they've got everything right there. And that's included in your packet for consideration. They did price it out with an inch overlay. I'd recommend we do an inch and a half. But if we did that and replace that culvert, that road, in theory, with the condition that it's in now, should be a good 7, 8, maybe closer to 10-year solution for us.
I was going to ask about the inch overlay. Cause usually you're back dealing with an inch overlay pretty quickly.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. I mean, that road, I don't think has any major cracking and failures and loss in shape really.
Right.
Whereas some of the other roads, we're gonna throw an inch and a half on potentially. And within a couple of years, you're gonna see a fair amount of the cracks. It won't be as alligator and ready to just break apart, but you're gonna start seeing some of that. It's like what the state does their LCP. Bristol Road was most recently done, and also those cracks are showing again. It's just, that's the treatment type. So the idea with those others is just to get us to that next step where we can make the investment. Pine Ridge, for example, it's gonna be probably 150 to 200 grand to get in there and do what we should do out there. We're not prepared to do that, but we can.
Yeah, that all needs to come off
Not
of
fix
this.
some of those
Yeah.
spots. One in particular that the plows, I mean, just we're gonna rip it up again.
Yeah.
How much is in the reserve now?
Get there, give me a second. Approximately 200, we had 150,000 appropriated this year. Any other questions on those before?
No.
No,
You know the work the Great Salt Bay is doing
Mhm.
on Church Street?
Yes,
Who's paying for that?
Great Salt Bay.
They are.
Yep.
It's their work,
Right.
their. Okay. So if our water costs go up, it's because of that.
There was some, I believe, some grant funding in some of that work.
Oh, good.
Yeah, the piping out on that metal and stuff was grant funded and everything, you know. Some of it, I don't know what the percentage was, but.
Yeah. I'm showing
We are paying for it somehow. This country.
Well, our hydrant fees.
And the hydrant fees, yeah.
They went through the roof.
I'm showing an estimated balance to work with at 232,000 on the paving reserve.
Oh, good.
So it still leaves us with something if we need to address something in the winter time or there's a big issue.
So these two, I know we talked earlier, but these, the Church Street and, Belvedere Extension with the, contracts are both in place right now on both spots.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it makes right, if, mobilization and whatnot, so,
I did have a supplemental piece for the Church Street one. I think in the memo I had noted I had some outstanding
there's some questions here.
And I did get those answers.
Yes.
Before the weekend, so sharing those. With you, I'd asked about how the tie into the driveways would work. So didn't explicitly call for it. With Belvedere Extension, the plan is to just cut butt joints for each of those driveways and where they're gonna stop closer to Business Route 1. We didn't get that specific. I'd asked the question for Church Street and
leaves it up to the town, mostly, I think. Any of those options just at slightly additional costs, from what was quoted, the other question I had was, it didn't appear to be a definitive like lump sum project cost. And so when it says approximate tonnage and approximate widths, and so that would fluctuate. And so, presumably, made me assume that if there was estimating 124 tons, if it ended up being 130 tons, I presume that they would have expected the compensation for the extra 6 tons.
With
or
unit price,
vice versa. If
yeah.
it's overestimated, and I think in here we measured it a couple of times, it's about 385 feet on the ground that we marked off
Yeah.
for paving the overlay, and they estimated the length at 450, so right out of the gate, there should be
Savings.
less tonnage there. There isn't, some other jobs that we have identified on here that we had another company looking at, trying to get numbers from, some of those are included, like Heater Road, and they are able to quote us at a lower price.
Where does that 175 foot bring us on heater? Is that
Just past the first 2 drives there. That's where most of the turning action's happening and most of the potholing's happening. Beyond that, it's not too bad. We just get some washboarding at times. By applying calcium chloride every time they grade it, and that seems to lock it in pretty well.
Yeah,
Um,
which town owned how long?
we go to, no.
The first road, yeah.
It's at the B, I believe.
Yeah, I know the road first, but
Yeah.
think how far that, but that
The
doesn't,
trailer park there.
Yeah,
that first
yeah.
road.
but the 175 doesn't bring us to that. It brings-
No, it takes you just past the above and beyond cannabis.
Yeah.
Almost to that culvert.
Oh, yeah, in that first section, not to the town garage.
Just
yeah,
about to
that's
that telephone pole there by that culvert.
That's what I was thinking. It wasn't very far out.
No, yeah, I mean, if we'd wanted to do the whole, 1,000 feet, we're looking, not, crazy that much more, but I don't know if we're prepared to.
Right, yeah.
Or really need to, frankly.
There must be a pretty substantial amount of prep work involved in that, though.
They're planning on just doing 2 lifts, we gonna need to grade out some of it, we've been grading it, I think, twice, aiming for about twice a year, assuming twice a year. So we're due to get that lined up again soon, so it has a chance to lock in before winter. It's just starting to washboard again, I believe.
Yeah, the base is much better. Yeah, this
We
material's coming.
invested in the road base,
Yeah.
from the garage entrance back to Biskie Road the last few years, we put 5 or 6 grand worth of material into that lower end
Yeah,
a few years ago, and when it got real soft, we had just put 1.5, 2 inch stuff
yeah.
into the ground and
Just
just
sort of
throw it
loading
in.
stuff in there. So,
So that kind of helped a bit, to stiffen it up, and then last year when we graded it, we added another 200 or 300 yards of surface material, so there's actually something to push around and grade. So we've done, I think this past year, the material we used for the surface did get a little, slippery, if you will, when it started to thaw. Especially when it was still winter, but warm enough to kind of break through that first layer. But otherwise it didn't seem to flex and do what it used to do.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I think we've made those improvements. Either way, I think from above and beyond back to, Biskie never really experienced quite that in the last few years. Most of it was from that culvert and the storage units up in there, past our shop. So I feel pretty confident in being able to do this and buy us, a lot less maintenance to worry about coming off of Biskie Road.
Absolutely, yeah, a lot of stuff turning in and out of there, so.
There's a lot of traffic in.
A lot of traffic, yeah, and the truck traffic, so it's, yeah.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me, with the 2 contractors already in place and both of those spots, it would seem strange to go out and try to do a bid process to, run to that with already in place, so. And then, you work with the details with the contractors, making sure we get the measurements in and whatnot we need to do, and, yeah. And, I agree, upping it to 1.5 inches on Belvedere, right, that was your.
Yeah,
Yeah,
feel we definitely should do that, and I estimated another $5,500, from what they.
So the
be able to
tonnage.
do that.
yeah, and they're within what was it, 165, 175 a ton, so $10 a ton between the 2, and it's pretty.
Yeah, they're right on,
Pretty
pretty close
close.
with each other. I mean, there's small quantities, that's why we're not getting, I mean, if you're running out miles of asphalt and doing 1,000 ton plus on jobs, I mean, you're getting prices right now.
115
Yeah,
a ton, but I mean, we're talking about mobilizing all that equipment
Short
regardless,
lists,
so you're doing
yeah.
a much shorter span, so they got a higher cost to do that little bit.
Right.
With Crooker, everything is already there. Church Street, the trench work that are gonna be paving in doesn't require the rollers like they're gonna have for the overlay, so they're gonna have to bring all that stuff in still,
yeah,
which puts it more.
yeah, there's still some equipment to bring in, so, okay. Oh, so the 70, you're asking for the 75, I think that'll.
Yeah, I had a typo on the
Cover.
agenda,
Oh.
but it would be, you see in the memo there, if you were to add Church Street, Belvedere Extension and those. Other locations, I noted Pine Ridge, Westview, there's some driveway culverts we have to patch in,
Mhm.
the culverts we replaced. Pine Ridge is like 100 feet by 5 or 8 feet wide, I think we're all planning on doing that back
Yeah.
corner. I don't wanna do too much of an overlay out there because we really need to do some drainage work, not to the extent we did on Kingswood, but. And there's a lot of buried utility that isn't very deep, that's kind of presenting a challenge for us to get in there and. Do some ditching, and so we have to work with
Sure.
the utility companies to navigate that.
Hey, the upper side of the road, back towards Bristol Road is pretty decent, you get down in that lower section, and it's gonna have to.
It's another one that's
Gonna have to
just
come up
really
with some
flat.
plan yeah.
And it's, there is
Yeah.
some drainage built through there and there is water moving, more so than Keen Woods.
Yeah, it's not as bad
But
as
it
Keith
does
was.
present challenges if you don't have the ditches you need.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, a lot of them are filled in or
Yeah.
never were.
You'll be bringing that road bed up to make your ditches, so most likely, but it's gotta have something back in that corner to get by, so.
Right,
Yeah.
so we figured just patch that back corner on that one. We are waiting on some numbers, and this is the only thing with the Church Street one that may come, back with another company potentially, if we're looking at potentially overlaying the backside of Hodgson Street, which is not included in here. And I know we've gotten complaints about Pleasant Street from Hodgson into the stone wall.
Mhm.
That's in desperate need of an
Yeah.
overlay at the very least.
Yeah.
The thought I had was that we would potentially look at doing, when we did the Church Street project. Do Pleasant, potentially Hodgson while the equipment's in there then, but we're 2 or 3, maybe 4 years out still before we can get the monies together to do that kind of work.
To even do church?
It's a
Wow.
$1.8 million estimated cost. We've got $232,000 in the reserve and no grants yet approved, awarded, so.
Okay.
Either
Spend
require a
75
bond or continued years of funding and still applying for more grants.
Yeah.
So we aren't in a position to just do that one yet. And so that would be another one to kind of buy us a few more years on that. There's low volume, you put those overlays on Pleasant Street and the back end of Hodgson, it should buy us the few
Yeah,
years we need to be able to
just
pull the rest of it together to do a more.
Band-aid it a little bit,
substantial
yeah. Makes sense,
At least we haven't gotten a full price quote out yet from the company that we were working with to get those.
Yeah.
But they were about 125 a ton on some of the other jobs they were citing.
yeah, they're below the threshold anyway, 15,000, so we can work with them, so. Okay.
So you're saying the 75,000 is gonna be updated?
The request would be to consider appropriating 75,000 from the paving and drainage reserve for the Church Street overlay,
No, the front page.
the Belvedere extension,
Oh,
The agenda had a typo.
okay, got it.
Yeah.
and then Pine Ridge, Westview and Heater Road.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, the agenda had a typo at 50, said 55,000, it was
Right.
actually supposed to be 75, so snuck it in there, so. All right.
And anything less than that stays in the reserve, so.
Yeah, doesn't go anywhere else, so, if anybody has any more comments or questions, I'll make a motion to, appropriate up to $75,000 from the paving and drainage reserve for the road improvements recommended in the town manager's August 20th memo, and to waive the bid procedure for the projects that will be over 15,000, so as we have just discussed. We want that second?
No, so
Tom's gonna second. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none. All right, all those in favor? Okay, good, yeah, all right. So Andy will work with them on details and make it happen. So, it's all right, we have a technology reserve. Looks like the planning board wants some computers.
Yeah, something Michael had shared that, they had inquired about whether they could have, their packets are pretty substantial, you can imagine.
It's hard to print
stuff
out.
they get. The applicants are generally required to provide the large plot maps, large plat maps, You know, but when they come into the meetings, I mean, they take up a lot of space on the table as well, so some of them had asked, a couple of them do bring their own devices. We need to get them emails, they don't have their own town issued emails, they should have that for the
Oh,
business they're doing.
Yeah,
Keep that separate from the personal stuff, and the Chromebooks are relatively inexpensive. I think I was figuring about 350. Which would get you the device, the bag, travel bag, a mouse and the IT setup.
yeah.
And what's the paper savings to offset?
Well, for the planning board,
I'm just
they,
kidding.
well, I ran it for the select board.
Yeah.
Which, over the course of the, on average, a board packet size, this one's a bit light, but on average and figuring the, budget books.
Mhm.
If the board were to utilize, this board were to utilize Chromebooks for the budget process. There would be savings, because you're gonna get 3, 4, maybe 5 years out of those
Yeah.
Chromebooks, so.
Yeah, it's been talked about, we've
With the planning
talked about
board
it on and off for
there's
a few years.
but per se, but it's gonna be easier for them to access what they need.
It's gonna
in a
be
digital format
To
and.
streamline their process. Yeah, they're not trying to share. Yeah, no, it makes sense, so. But we've talked about it on and off, where having the different committees and the board and the planning board having some sort of electronic format, and just for the legality of it too, with FOIA and things like that, and having not using a personal device or something, so it makes sense, but.
Yeah, I think those
Just start with
emails usually come at about 10 or 12 bucks a month per user. For anyone that we issue.
Yeah.
So it's an added cost that we weren't fully anticipating, but it's one that we can make happen.
Okay, and 7, that includes, the 5 and 2 reserves.
There are 2, so
Two
there's
alternate,
5 voting members and 2 alternates.
alternates, yeah.
Right now, we're not fully.
Yeah. But-
Staffed, but.
We'd have to have the
But-
equipment for them
Right.
if they are, so, yeah. Yeah, it makes sense to start with the planning board for what they have they need to access for. Plans and details and
Yeah.
maps and whatnot.
Are the current planning board members comfortable using devices like that?
As far as I know, Michael had brought it to my attention, following one of their meetings. But I think 1, 2, 3 of the current members, 3 usually bring one with them.
Okay.
Wilder's, retired, so to speak, from it. Jonathan doesn't usually bring one with him, but he'd be the only one that's regularly attending that doesn't bring one.
Right.
But the rest of them that regularly attend usually do.
Well, Jonathan can pick it up, he's technical.
I mean, it's nice too, if they need to be remote, I mean, they'll have webcams in them, so they'd have the technology certainly to be able to. Bring that with them and work remotely if they need to join that way.
Yeah. Do we know what's in that reserve too?
Just
Throw you right on the spot here, yeah.
I'll start writing them on their sheets when I do this.
We're always gonna ask that, Andy. What's in the reserve?
That one's estimated balance at 38,000.
Okay.
I think we're running right now, we're assuming every 5 years that we replace the computers that we have.
Yeah.
Hopefully not all in the same year, so they're all staggered, and I think like, the laptops, this being one of them, and then I think there was 2 or 3 others that were bought, early on in COVID, so staff could work remotely.
Yes, that's right.
We're all now 5 years, Fortune 5, just over 5 years old, still working, but. If it goes, we gotta be able to replace it. The desktop, I think, that I use is the next oldest one, I believe. That was, I think, 2019, maybe 20, again, still. Holding on, but I mean, we'd rather plan to have the funds to be able to replace, I think 5 years unfortunately seems to be, with operating system changes and.
Oh, yeah,
software
yeah,
updates,
upgrades.
they kind of. Just
Yeah.
get outdated pretty quick, it seems these days.
And we use all the time, so. So we should get, for the planning board, should get 1 a year, then stagger them, right, just they show.
Is the man that starts next week, is he gonna need one?
The island fella,
Yeah.
Emerson.
Last name or she?
Emerson, I need to confirm, I think we're providing that one, she has one with her already. But I need to just double check, I'm planning that we would be buying that, but I think we can do that in the operating budget if we need to. We're still waiting,
Name or last name?
that's her first name. We're still waiting to shift some offices, the phone line and the front room there didn't have. An active line tied to it, I mean, it's wired, but it's not active, and so we'd have to fumble our way through. Or wait the 2 to 3 weeks to have the company come in and properly.
Terminate it.
So we're waiting for that, but otherwise we plan to move, code officer into the front office, so he'd have more space in there to meet with people if someone wants to come meet with him. This room
Yeah.
sometime is occupied when he does want to meet with folks, and then the assessor will be going into the room the code officer's in. And then Emerson and Michael will work in the back room. Which will provide them the opportunity to work collaboratively if they need to at times.
Nice. Yeah, Emerson's a she, by the way, so. So.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, I thought you had said it was, because they're staying with you for a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, good, okay.
Yeah, she's at orientation right now and will be popping, I think, maybe potentially on Friday, just to check in if she wants to, otherwise we'll be starting with us in earnest on Monday. So.
It's great.
All right. Well, if we're good with technology, I'll make a motion to appropriate up to $3,000 from the technology reserve for the purchase of Chromebooks for the planning board. Second, I have a second there, would you second that one? All right, and any other discussion on that? All those in favor? Okay, so books it is, awesome, all right. And Pumpkin Fest, is that still going on? Is there a Pumpkin Fest on coming up? So, yeah. You can cancel if you'd like. No, sir. Yeah.
Cancel it once.
Absolutely not, not doing it again yet, so. Yeah, so we're looking, request is, to occupy some parking and places that are already occupied by the Pumpkin Fest.
Yeah, so
More or less. No, I could just.
Instead of just kind of doing.
I was saying that in jest, because it's like, you know, it's crazy down there, so yeah. Yeah, so.
yeah, I mean, historically, we just kind of make it work, but it's also, there's a lot of stuff moving around on certain events, and the deployment being kind of the first one. We got trucks and trailers coming down, trying to navigate that, and you got barricades coming in, which is a little bit easier
Just-
for us to shuffle around and
Yeah,
navigate.
just getting the barricades.
And then the
and
regatta.
Delivery and trucking, yeah.
Really being the other big one. One of the things, I don't know if Jed, if you want to come down to the table here, in case you need to share anything else that I'm gonna.
I speak
Butcher.
here from here.
Well, we just want to make sure the.
Oh, yeah, we've got to get you on, so if we have any, you know, questions, you're gonna come down, you need to state your name and your business.
Get in a hot chair.
I know one of the things that
Boy.
Yeah.
Jed and the organizers were talking about trying to do is maybe bring some of the food trucks into that parking lot.
Yeah.
And we were looking at that shorter double row of parking where that telephone pole is.
Mhm.
Nice red parking spots at Cheney House. We've already talked to them. I know you guys are aware of those.
Gotcha.
So that's the area we're speaking of, is those
Yeah.
spots right there.
Yeah, the winter parking area, yeah.
I was proposing, for the sake of, being able to be clear with, you know, how to get traffic in and out. I think in talking with PD and the experiences we've had, if we can get traffic to go in and out from the Water Street end, that would be better than having on
So you'd
both
be
ends.
closing by Metcalf's?
Absolutely.
Primarily for just general use, yes.
Yeah, so would there still be a loop, obviously? You'd have to create another.
Yep.
By your map, there'd be another.
We'd lose a couple more spots, to be able to create that, turnaround. And think about it when we had the parking lot project going on
Yeah.
last year.
Mhm.
You know, that fencing that was put up, we kind of made it the ability for people to kind of go to, but turn back around at the fencing. It'd be a similar, with this, just with cones. We'd cone it off or barricade it off.
And
Create
then
a
the
turn
boat
lane.
spots too, right? Have you had any issues with boaters down there?
We haven't, it's been one of those things that, you know, cross your fingers, because we have to do the regatta, which will this year be on Sunday at 4 o'clock. Because it's run on tides.
Right.
We have to do it at the high tide, or, you know, so that's kind of where we are. So Sunday afternoon, that long weekend, we're probably okay there. It's the Mondays when we've gotten into too far into the mornings, where sometimes you can run into some of the commercial fishermen.
Yeah.
That was my question.
That can be an issue. That Sunday, we don't expect to be a problem, because it's, again, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mhm.
But just to kind of talk about that space down there, just to kind of give you guys, and I'm not sure how many of you might have been involved at different times. It all starts on Thursday mid-morning. That's when these barricades that we're talking about, the ones on the sidewalks, those get delivered. They're delivered right there. After talking to the PD, they've asked that would we get more barriers so that we can close that end of the parking lot essentially to public access. It helps, one for them, two for us. If you because it plugs up everything. Everybody trying to turn in, turn out, because it's really not 2 cars wide and that whole thing. Thursday evening deployment, we deploy right out of that end of the parking lot. Of course, those barricades won't go up until Friday morning at like 5 in the morning. So we'll do deployment out of there, and then that'll be blocked at that end.
Yeah.
Then food trucks would probably, we're gonna talk to them, but they would move in Saturday morning. Not Friday. Friday is still, that's still, you know, they're out painting pumpkins, doing that. We don't have any downtown activities other than the painting of pumpkins at that point in time. So Saturday morning would be the food trucks coming in. Reason for more food, as a former restaurateur in town. This is
People are hungry.
a little bit of a sticky subject because I never wanted to see more food coming in town because of course I wanted my restaurant full. Well, the problem is right now what we've created with Pumpkin Fest is essentially, it's like inviting 20 of your closest friends to your house and having food for 10.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got is
You
that's
can't
one of our.
physically serve the amount of people.
You just
It's
can't, there's just not
impossible.
enough food to go
Yeah.
around. I mean, King Iders is full, every brick and mortar down there is full.
Yeah.
And King Iders is doing food outside.
I don't-
and Grill's doing food outside.
We don't hear anybody holler about the food trucks coming in anyway. Like, I know early on with the Pumpkin Fest, that was an
yeah.
issue, and then, but
Well, and it may
It's-
be this
yeah.
year because we are expanding it. We've had 2 food trucks for the last 2 years, both of them local. So we invited local vendors first. It's crazy the amount of people that wanna serve food at Pumpkin Fest. But as you can imagine, it's captured audience. So we have in line right now, there's gonna be, the 2 that are currently down there, the Salty Boys and the Reggae Eats. There's a dumpling truck coming in. There's going to be a fried dough truck coming in. We wanted a little more of like fair kid food because it is a family type thing. And what the idea is, we're gonna maintain, thank you to Colby and Gail. Thank you, Daryl. We're gonna close the station has been donated, so we're gonna use that primarily out front of that for the nonprofit food offerings. So they'll be right on Main Street. The more substantial food part where we're asking about, this is the
Move
parking
back.
spots out back, will be out back.
yeah.
That will be where those food trucks are. So if you want, if you want more of a burger or you want a lobster roll or something, that'll be out there. If you wanna get popcorn or if you want fried dough, fried dough's gonna be up front. Just because it's kind of like fair, that's where the kids are, that's where what we want. And then you put the nonprofits out there also to sell any food that they want. It gives them kind of the first shot.
Jenny, are you doing seating out there too?
Seating will be at
out in-
Colby and Gale, yeah.
It'll still be at-
No,
okay.
it'll still stay at Colby and Gale as long
Gotcha.
as we have the space. We'll maintain kind of right, it'll be between these two.
Yeah, got it.
Not getting into, essentially the neighbors' parking spaces
Yeah.
there. We don't wanna get into, we don't wanna block anybody from
Yeah.
their businesses. So we'll stay on Colby and Gale's property there probably for
For the-
chairs.
So yeah.
So there'll
Yeah,
be
cause that
food
gets super
there.
crowded with the 2 food trucks
Right.
and the
Well, now
nonprofits
we're
and the
taking-
seating.
right, now we're taking those 2
Yeah.
food trucks out.
Yeah, cause it
So
is, I
we'll
mean,
have-
everybody's there trying to, yeah, that's tight.
So that
makes
gives
sense.
us, that gives us Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Obviously, those food trucks, we're offering them to just stay there. They can leave their vehicles and their trucks, whatever they'd like. Sounds like a lot of them probably won't. They like to take them back and restock them wherever they go. I know Reggae Eats will probably move theirs. Salty Boys will probably leave theirs. The others, I'm not sure if they know what they're getting into, so they may need to run away. I don't know. So those guys will stay. Saturday, obviously, we have the parade. No big deals there. The back parking lot, again, feeding from off the other side of the side street. That'll continue. Boat access will still be there. I think in your proposal, you left the boat parking spots open, like they can get to them somehow.
Well, along the gulch for sure. I
Yeah.
think we just need to work with you to
Right.
see, I think.
Little barriers.
I think that was leading into my next question was.
Right.
Having those boat parking spots go away, which I don't know how much traffic there really is there. And most of the boats I think are in for the event. They
Right.
wait till the event's over and then they leave, but that leaves that boating trailer problem.
Right,
Where
for the-
if you lose those 4 boating trailer spots, there really isn't any place to put a boat and trailer, a truck and trailer.
Right.
right.
For the
If you
regatta,
have that entrance closed. You could essentially, your highlight was only the end of that parking zone. That highlighted area would be all the way over in front of Metcalf, right?
I mean, I was envisioning that we'd have those 2 spots along the gulch available still for boat trailer parking.
On the left.
Yep, the 4 that are marked out in that double row, essentially, in the end of that double row. In the past, I believe, have been pretty well utilized by emergency response vehicles to stage for the regatta.
Yeah.
The fire department comes down with their truck and trailer and the boats in the water, and Coast Guard will come up, but they'll come up by boat anyway.
They come up by boat.
But the ambulance is usually in there.
Ambulance is there.
So we usually during that event take those.
That
spots
area's gone anyway.
Yeah. The idea of not going all the way to the gulch was so that there is room to maneuver a vehicle in. Like if a boat needs to launch, if we took and blocked all the way across the front of that ramp, it'd be very hard to come off of Water Street
Mhm.
and not.
We have,
Right,
we did a lobster boat launch out of there 3 years ago. One morning,
Mhm.
I came to work, this is when I still had the pump, I came down and there was a truck trying to back in to off of Main Street down to that ramp. And I'm like, all our stuff was there, the porta potties is there, the whole thing, I'm like,
Boy, yeah. Yeah,
They're like, well, we got called and. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so we called the street and they made it.
Yeah.
They got in
Well-
and out with, full tractor trailer.
and I think.
So that basically then it wouldn't be barricaded off for access on that
It's-
end.
When they asked me about the barricade there off of Main Street, it's not gonna be,
No, I meant if somebody was to come in and do that
Oh.
loop where that highlighted area is, that will be
Mine-
passable.
My intention is they could still launch a boat and,
Okay.
and kind of loop around there if they need to. I think there's enough room outside of that kind of marked off highlighted area that they could go up towards Metcalf if they needed to and kind of back in and then get back around and go out Water Street.
That answers my question.
That the only folks going beyond into that area where I've kind of got that blocked off would be for
Yeah,
boat
there's definitely
access.
room for a loop there.
And
Right.
in practice too, I mean, if we look back at the parking lot
Here.
project, how disruptive that was,
Meaning.
Right.
especially with the commercial folks that were coming in, I mean, they worked really well, I mean, they'd call or there was ways to make it happen if it needed to,
well,
yeah.
we talked about, we're not gonna make these barriers, they're not, I mean, we
So
have
this
to,
is blocked.
we don't join the barriers completely all together.
Right, yeah, so you can move them and.
But we only book 3 at a time, so that if there is an emergency, this was something that the emergency responders had asked for, that we can move 3 of those barriers at a
Right,
time.
get stuff through it, yeah.
Instead of having them all walk together for the full length, it doesn't work.
Mhm.
But that piece that would go across that exit entrance area right there on Main Street coming into the parking lot, that's gonna be loose.
Yeah.
So if we needed to get into
If-
there.
yeah.
If somebody called and said, hey, I've got a boat and we have to get it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, we
We'll come
can, we
move.
can make it
Yeah,
work.
we can mobilize
Yeah, one of
it.
the oyster folks or something like that they run the tide, so I mean, it's very similar to how well it worked in the
Yeah.
parking lot project, it just, all you gotta do is ask.
Yeah.
Say, oh, yeah.
just ask.
But, watching especially the Thursday afternoon deployments, and how you
Oh, yeah.
guys have done it in the past, and it is, it's tough down there, because we're coming in with no place to really land, and then traffic's coming in and out, and it's an interesting
Thursday,
orchestra. so-
Hammond, they have asked us to kind of coordinate that a little better this year.
Yeah.
They're getting a little nervous, their
Yeah,
insurance.
There's a lot of,
So they've
So-
asked us to kind of tighten that up.
Yeah.
They're not so much worried about vehicles because the sheriff's department and the police pretty much keep the vehicles out of there. But then we have just the general spectators
You have
that are kind
everybody.
of wandering around. Meanwhile, we've got forklifts running all over
Yeah.
the place. We've got tractor trailers coming in with all these giant pumpkins. They're like,
Yeah,
can we just
it
get
gets,
people?
it gets a little nutty.
And we're like, okay, we'll work on this year's
Yeah.
thing for deployment is to eliminate the pedestrians in the middle of.
So in the effort of safety, it seems like a good idea to at least have a dedicated area down there.
Yeah. So that's Saturday, Sunday. We have a lot of things going on downtown, but nothing major on the roads or anything else. We do just kind of give everybody kind of an idea of the scope of things. We're probably gonna talk about barricading Elm Street again, during the day,
Mhm.
especially for parade. Theater Street will be closed the whole time. That's what we use as our info zone, which is our
Right.
profit zone.
Yeah.
That'll be there. Colby and Gale again has given us the parking lot behind that whole area to use.
Over the Elm Street Plaza, yeah.
Buskers will be there. That's where the derby will be run back there. So that all goes on Sunday with the regatta. That's all done. Then we get to Monday morning. Monday morning, we have a new item, which is the 5K race. It is Tour de Gourd is what it's been called. This was brought to us by a running group. They have now joined force with us.
Yep.
They're serious. They're having a lot of fun with this, which
Awesome.
so it is, and we went with the PD on this and talked about it. That it's going to start in Newcastle. Newcastle wanted to be involved, so we're gonna actually start at the town offices there. It's gonna run right up Main Street. And then when we hit the light, we're gonna hang the left and it's gonna go off and does a loop and it's,
Yep.
there's a course.
They lose church.
But it's off of Main Street. Main Street will be closed for approximately, we're guessing 15 minutes. On Monday morning from 8 to 8:15, maybe 8:30 by the time we get all the police and everybody out.
That's how fast I can run.
As I said, but he said, well, you have to figure this on the slowest walker.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and it is up.
Yeah.
So,
What time again, Dave? What time is it?
8:00.
8 o'clock, so first in the morning on the holiday.
Yeah, so that'll be, and we're cognizant of that, people are still going to work. Miles is still open, people have to get to work, so Main Street, we can't keep Main Street closed for long, and that's what I've told them when they first proposed this, I said, great idea. But we close Main Street for a parade
Yeah,
for a couple hours, to ask the town to do that again,
in the same
it
weekend.
better be quick. So, they had 15 minutes, the police, the sheriff's department, they seem to think this is all very doable. So that's Monday morning, first thing, and then the last thing we have, the last big event is the drop, which is up here at Great Salt Bay. Which doesn't really involve the roads other than, traffic is normal up there. Speaking of other traffic things that you may want to know about is the parking issues. Obviously, we have a parking lot back this year, that's great. But we also have finally got our transportation and parking down. In the last 2 years, I think we've finally figured it out. That we've got 3 main lots that we run 3 buses to all the time, and Saturday we run 5 buses. And they just loop essentially to those 3 lots. And it just keeps people moving and it keeps everybody safe. And then we have 2 other lots over on the other side, in the Newcastle side, which is Lincoln Academy, which is a walking lot. It's their primary lot over there. And then Lincoln Home has now gotten involved. They do pay for parking over there.
That's fine.
Which they do very well with, and the Chamber of Commerce has 5 lots downtown. Including the one next to Main Street Grocery, Mobius. There's a couple others there. I think it's their biggest fundraiser for the chamber, other than our guy. So other people are doing well.
We're the drop off points downtown.
Downtown is right at the light, right, by Bath.
Oh, yeah, okay, coming up Bass Acres,
Right
yeah.
there,
I
that's
was trying to
our-
remember where, yeah, right there. Yeah, that seems to work pretty well. It's just off the street and not.
Yeah,
that
keep
keeps
it over.
too, you're not getting.
Yeah.
It keeps
yeah.
it flow, and then usually we have PD there at the light, especially at the big times, so that we can get the buses back out into traffic.
Yeah.
So. That's kind of everything in a nutshell.
Awesome, Dad, yeah. Well, you guys, it's been a few years of getting stuff, seem to
Yeah, they're the new things.
iron out the kinks as it goes, so, yeah.
And I think it just keeps growing every year.
I cross my fingers every year. Just,
I met a woman that comes from Seattle. She's probably in her 80s, comes every year as a volunteer.
oh yeah,
It's no doubt, yeah, it's a volunteer, yeah.
it's amazing the
Yes.
stories you hear, and I
Amazing.
mean, I get all
Yeah.
the info, emails all year long. It's amazing the people that plan trips.
Yeah.
Around that.
It's, we take advantage, I mean, we kind of think of it as, it's a lot of work for all of us. And we put this together, it's a labor of love for the people that are involved in it, but then you see. These emails that come through, hey, we're planning, we'd like to volunteer.
Yeah, that's
Can we
something,
be
yeah.
part of the way off? Well, that's the weekend before, oh, well, how about, can we be part of the regatta? Sure, you can be part of the regatta, how would you like to park cars?
Yeah. That's something, that's amazing, that was.
That's a lot of
yeah.
fun, it really is.
Yeah, wow, oh,
What year is this?
This is 18, of course, 1 - 1,
Right.
2020.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't kidding when I said I had to cancel the first one I was in charge of.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and I was so glad I came back. I mean,
I
it
was
was, that was,
driving, I
that
was
was
driving to
scary.
pick up my daughter after her college had closed,
Yeah,
and we had to make that decision over.
yeah, yeah, well, glad it came back.
Yeah. So
So,
here we are.
all right. So, yeah, so we've got a request on the docket here for parking lots being used anyway. I'm not, it just is, I mean, it is what it is, yeah. So,
Still request.
anybody have any other Pumpkin Fest
I just
related?
wonder how the businesses are gonna react. Do you have bulletproof vest for the board here? Because,
Well,
Most of
I wouldn't
them,
be worried about you guys so much. Myself is probably, I could be a target.
oh, we don't blame it on Jed. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, as being in a business downtown, yeah, there's parking's at a premium anyway. But we see when you get into that weekend, it's built into,
I mean, the buses flow and move.
yeah, but we all kind of know what's gonna happen. Like the parking lot is limited in scope and size and it generally, it's full and that's it. It's at max capacity or so
It's
it's,
the constant rotation.
yeah,
They just-
yeah, it is awesome, right?
I don't
Yeah.
think I'd ever try to get a vehicle into that bad.
So, not during Pumpkin Fest, so
I think
it's.
not what I'm-
Teams.
A large portion of those spots are Cheney ones that you've already conquered with Cheney, correct?
Well, there's 4 of them there, yeah.
Yeah,
But there's, I
yeah.
think there's a total of, there's 24. One of them, yeah, 24, I think,
Yeah.
that's.
That are here, that are being used. for-
Yeah, the idea is to do the food trucks, it's gonna
You
be,
can't see that.
they're gonna be in a space,
Yeah,
then
that's
then an empty space, then another food truck.
Yeah,
That way, when they open their. Whatever, and the other thing I should have said is when we do this back there,
Yeah.
we're gonna have 3 essentially opening and facing towards the Colby Gale end. And 3 towards the other end, toward Metcalf's, facing open that end, so the people walking.
yeah,
From Main Street can see that there's food back there
Yeah.
and from both sides.
yeah,
but also when you put them back to back, to save space.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, definitely getting them out and open, that makes, I mean, to utilize the space for that seems to make. It makes sense to me, so. Alright.
I'll actually
Yeah.
throw out in future years, I mean, seeing how this goes and as improvements are made to make things safer and whatever. I mean, in the future, there's something to be considered for not having any parking back there. I mean, when there's 160 spots and people circling. I'm not suggesting that for this year, I'm just saying like from.
I didn't say that.
From managing,
Cameras.
from managing traffic and safety, like,
Yeah.
and we're fortunate that we haven't had any major issues.
Yes.
But you got people manning both entrances, people.
Yeah, it's
Both ends of that
a
sign
tough
up.
parking lot.
So everybody know it's full, you can't come in now and whatever, but if they just knew it wasn't available.
There were a few
Not-
years, the Oyster Festival shut that right down.
Yeah,
We had the barriers went all the way around the parking lot.
Or having it just be for, limited for handicap only, maybe.
there was.
They have a place close to.
Tom's right, you're gonna get some flack for that.
If I remember right, though, there was 1 year where the transportation buses came and we shut off a large portion because it was all transportation through there.
We did transportation through it.
Yeah,
And
so
it was rough.
Yeah, so the upper section was
Right.
shut down, and that was all for transportation only, so it has some precedence, it wasn't received
Yeah.
over this.
Right.
It's been done.
It's been
It's been
different
done.
parts of the parking lot, obviously last year being the complete thing. But different parts have been used for different things in the past, in the
Yeah.
last 18 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on your own on that.
Also,
I'm not recommending it for this, I'm just saying, think about it as you're down there looking at the events and this year being slightly different, how we're doing it last year, again, almost all of it was pretty well closed.
Yeah.
And so we're coming off of that and it still functioned fine, I think weather's always the curveball, I mean, if it's raining all weekend,
Oh.
everyone's gonna be impacted downtown regardless, if
Yeah.
the sun's out and it's beautiful weather the whole weekend,
Mhm.
businesses probably generally are gonna do well.
Yeah.
Some last year, I think they said that they had the best sales they'd ever had during a pumpkin fest last year,
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly.
And we had 60-mile-an-hour winds.
It does,
Long
yeah,
Lake
it was,
Center.
yeah, well, I mean, last fall in general was, even with the parking lot project before, it was just a really good season, and.
Right.
And it showed that what limited amount we have for parking, it was surmountable and it worked, but, so.
I think the biggest impacts is those who still come into work and those who reside in the buildings down there, so
Yeah.
if there's a way to kind of. Identify them ahead of time in the future years, if that were to happen, I think that would be the most important
Right,
thing to
yeah.
mitigate, so they can still have
reasonable.
You need access to their
home.
residences and
Yeah.
whatnot, so, yeah.
But for visitors coming into the events, you guys have a great bus system set up, so they're not doing it for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. no,
Exactly. I mean, all visitors should be using the bus system.
Well, and if you wanna pay, if you wanna park close, you pay.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're not, I mean, I think the most expensive lot's the first lot that they donate, and I think that's $20 to park.
For the day.
All day.
Yeah, for the day. Go to Booth Bay and see what that costs. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, $20 for an event, if you got a car full of
Car full
kids
of
and,
kid.
you know, grandma and grandpa with you. $20, thank you
Is
very
that,
much.
is that the First National?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think all the other lots are running at 10, at 10, yeah. I'm not sure where,
First National's not charging that price, by the way.
no, it's not.
Chamber is.
The Chamber of Commerce is, that's their fundraiser.
Yeah.
Somehow they should make sure that that's known too, that the first is.
Well, Rotary's manning, Mobius and part of, Main Street for both days
Okay.
for fundraising.
In all of our literature, we advertise the pay for lots. In Pumpkin Fest literature and the maps and the handouts and everything that we do, and it clearly identifies it as Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
And then here's the lots. It does list the names of the companies because they are donating their,
Sure.
you know, they're essentially real estate. But it's for the Chamber of Commerce.
Where the-
We
where
try to
money's
make
going.
sure that
Yeah.
that people understand that this is,
The
Or-
first has donated. and
yes,
The
yeah,
chamber is.
they're supporting
There.
Awesome.
the town and the festival for them.
Well, in that case, mention at least Rotary for Mobius, because we're handling that solo.
Oh, you guys are in there.
Yeah, okay, all right.
We'll get you.
All right.
Awesome.
Be sure.
No, thank you, Jed. No, you guys always put together, it's a lot of work. So
Yeah, it's really,
appreciate it.
tis the season.
And when it's over, you can start again that Tuesday and just start planning it. So, I'll make a motion to, authorize the dedicated use of a portion of the parking lot to the Pumpkin Fest. For the festival weekend to be determined by the town manager, so they can iron out the details and things around, but, yeah, I think it's agreeable, to everybody. Anyone want to second that one?
Second.
Andrew's done a second. All right, any other discussion? None, all those in favor? Okay, all right,
Thank you all.
good enough. So, yeah, so any parking issues, you can blame it on the board. No, we approved it.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
come to me.
They will.
You guys are out.
Hey.
I'm the one that's standing down
And he's like, well, Andy said shut the whole thing down, so we, you know, we.
there.
Awesome.
You heard it here first from him.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys. very
Yeah, thanks for
much.
coming in. Thank you. Yep. All right, I think we've got business tied up. Anything we want to go over updates on strategic planning or? Have in mind, Eddie?
Been working with, Gabe, the consultant, on that process. I don't think I had it in the last board packet. We had tentatively penciled in the 10th, which was next Wednesday, for a workshop. I don't know if that works with folks.
Oh, 10th, yeah, next. Oh,
I'd have some information coming out Friday. It'd be either probably a 5:30 or 6 if it needed to be a little bit later.
That's fine.
okay.
Tends
Just
to
make
be.
it, just plan it, we'll make it happen.
That'd be one of, I think, 2 planned workshops that we had for this process.
Okay.
I'll have
Starting out.
information coming out, Friday, to look at some of the listed priorities and to have you be able to look at those ahead of the meeting. Potentially scoring and ranking some of those based on your own personal preferences and
Okay.
where you see those as priorities. The plan would be to kind of review that scoring at the meeting, have a discussion. I mean, if you put 5 of you on there to score those, all the same projects, they're not gonna always have the same top 10, right, for example.
Yeah,
So
right.
at the end of the day, the limited resources, the budget and the capacity to do that work, and so I think having more time to talk about, you know, where the board sees when it's all in the focus, after you've had a chance to score it, I think we wanted to create more time rather than doing that scoring initially in the meeting and spending most of the time doing scoring. So if
Exactly.
folks are okay with that process, you scored ahead of time, we
Yeah.
reflect and talk about that in the meeting. The idea coming out of that kind of first draft of priorities would be the staff would then meet and talk about how is it we're able to accomplish, I mean, some of it with the budget we have now for this year, and some of it's setting up for the next 2 budget cycles, to kind of be the precursor or lead into those processes, and if it requires
partnerships or staff buildup or time or purchasing of or funding capital projects, and we'll know going into those, and the board will be more grounded in sharing with the community why the budgets are what they are, whether it's up, down, or the same. Either way, that you're able to talk more in detail about if we want to reduce it by 3%, okay, what does this mean in terms of your work plan? What things won't we be able to accomplish this year as we were hoping if we reduce it by X? So it's all kind of setting up for more in-depth, I guess, conversation with folks and talking truly about priorities and what we're trying to accomplish.
All right.
The goal would be to wrap it all up before the end of the calendar year, which again sets us up with going into the budget planning cycle for FY 27 with some of that information to utilize.
So the next topic ties into it, right?
This is kind of sort of, I don't have anything to say. Dan hit it on the head earlier. I mean, what you're hearing, I mean, the staff have been getting a lot of feedback on the payments. I wouldn't say there's a large majority or a large amount, but there's been quite a few that have paid in full, just to get it out of the way and not forget. But a lot of thoughts and discussions being had about the increase again. There've been 2 or 3 now, pretty substantial increases.
What's
We
the
own part of
current,
that.
what's the current plan on the dates, I mean, the dates for the rebound?
They're gonna, I mean, we signed the contract and essentially started now. Still waiting for like our kickoff meeting with them to get that process fully laid out. But I mean, their plan was to have by the tax commitment we make in July of 28, which is tax year 29. That's the target.
Yes, couple of years, yeah.
So it's a multi-year to
Yeah.
go through.
Well,
Take a
you and
while.
I think we had a little discussion about the fact that maybe we ought to look at the large items in our budget to see if there's any way we can either flatten them or mitigate them, you know, for a year or so. Any increase that we might have next year.
Right.
I can see that tying into this, the strategic planning discussion as well, so I think we could do it there.
Right, and so I think for me, you know, being able to say like, we kind of were at that point this year with what was presented from the department heads and from me to the board. You know, when we say just cut it by 3%, it's like, I need to understand from you, what services do you want to reduce?
Right.
Yeah, where do
We need
you?
to know from the community or based on what you
Yeah.
hear from the community. I mean, I can come through and I didn't feel like I could based on what I understood the community wanted. So I really.
Well, we didn't present it either. I mean, it wasn't just on you. We all went through it too.
Right.
And like,
It together.
yeah, you know,
Which
where do
services are
you?
we okay reducing?
Yeah,
Exactly.
do this. Where do you do it without playing catch up the
Right.
next year? And that's the issue. Like
Right.
we've seen it where we've. And I same thing, we've all talked to folks and we talk about, like, especially capital investments and where things were. You know, not underfunded, but just, you know, not fully realized what the outlay will be. So, you know, it more or less is pointless to put this amount in if you're never gonna be able to get there. So not funding those things and you know, you're just playing catch up. So it's tough.
It's something
Um,
we can't cut, we cannot cut road work.
Well, I mean, right now, we're just not funding the full amount that we would otherwise, people are expecting and wanting us to do, and so.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not properly,
It's gone
right,
up.
it's not funded.
It's gone up $1,000, my tax bill up $1,000, my road still not hasn't been paid for 10 years, right? And honestly, that's.
That's reality.
It's like times in.
If we wanted everything fixed in the next couple of years,
No,
I'd be
but I
rusty
think-
in a,
I think
it's.
a little more disclosure would be helpful to avoid the kickback that we're getting.
Mhm.
And that is, if you take the big items, obviously we can't affect the school directly, but the other big items. We could talk about, well, if we cut this by 30%, this is what's gonna happen.
Well,
And just
some-
telling them
But
what the facts of
sometimes,
life are.
Yeah.
But
In more
sometimes-
granularity, so that they can see that it's not that easy, you know?
but some towns do go back to the school and say, we're not gonna pass this.
Well, I did that at Noblesboro. I don't know what the outcome was.
I don't
they
know, but
rejected two
Jefferson
budgets.
Didn't pass it twice.
But it finally got, I don't know, I know it finally got done, but I don't know what the resolution was, whether they cut it or not.
So
Yeah.
we can't automatically just say we can't touch the school.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
I'm just saying that.
Go to the school board budget meetings then.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
that's where the
separate.
vote takes place.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, we talk about pilot and that's something we need to revisit. I know we've tossed around some ideas how to approach that and stuff, and I think that's something that
Yeah, it's on my radar to get a letter out.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something we need to
Early next month.
prioritize as well. I know you
I
got a
mean,
lot of
that's-
stuff, but it needs to be.
A lot of those nonprofits, I mean, a good chunk of them operate on a calendar year, fiscal year, and so they're probably a bunch of them are probably about to enter their budget planning or have.
Yeah.
For next year, and just as you can appreciate not getting a new bill or an increase like in
Right.
the water district, we had gotten in the middle of the year, we didn't budget for the increase.
Yeah.
I think you're more apt, and I think, one of the things I was suggesting is, if we could show them based on the assessed value of the property they have. What the bill would have been at that tax rate. which
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
believe is in the town report.
Yeah.
For all those exempt properties,
That example that you sent out was good.
and then offering an alternative approach if the pilot payment might not work, is there a way to tie their mission to our comp plan?
Yeah.
So that we aren't maybe having to staff a creative program that's otherwise seen as a benefit to the community, and just can we create a partnership with a group
Yeah.
to accomplish that goal too, and
Yeah, I think
That's
that's a great way to approach it, because we need to have some partner, I mean, it's, what, less than 2,000 people are footing a pretty hefty bill, and, there's a lot of effect there, so having that, we've talked about, it. I like that approach, I think that's a good way to do it, and find out where that partnership is, so,
Megan,
Yeah.
our summer intern, was able to start to map some of that. She looked at all the nonprofits that had addresses in Damascotta, PO box or physical. There's a few that we need to add that we know are present here, that just don't have an address here. Finding all of them is not necessarily easy, it's all accomplishable, but with more time, and then she started to map, although she could find. What things in the comp plan were identified that maybe they'd be able to consider doing based on their mission.
even if we brought, you talk about, finding out what that assessment, what that tax bill would actually be, and then even breaking the school out of it, to see what the municipal side of it would be. And obviously take a chunk, but even that's better than
Right.
zero, seeing those different numbers, so I know it's another level, another task to do, but we've been talking about it a while, and people are asking. Yeah, so we definitely have to, bunch that up, so.
I hear the echo of Josh here every time the topic comes up about the budget.
Yeah, absolutely, so.
What do you think he thinks about his tax
Yeah.
bill?
Yeah, we're all paying taxes.
Well, the reality is we only control about 1/3 of the property tax. At the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, between that and 40, somewhere between there,
Yeah.
40%.
Well, that's why even taking, like, if you look at assessing a non-taxable property, and this is what it would be, even taking like the school out of that, because the reality is.
Too.
And then, and even the county, if you need to break it down, to see what the impact on, what it would be, that payment to the municipality, but however we want to approach it, just we need something to start with, and,
I mean, I haven't put those sheets, those documents that I've shared with you on the website or anything. I did print them, and the staff, for those that truly want to understand the breakdown, it's available to provide
With
folks
the-
that come in. Some
Yeah.
folks
Mhm.
don't really actually want to know where it goes. I mean, they're just upset.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
So they're just upset at the increase again. But there have been quite a few that are just genuinely interested in understanding, well, where is this going? What do I?
no,
do
it's,
with it?
those are great, because it's just, you see it, it's like, this is where it's at, and then you actually see, once you break it down, and you see what we were, basically what we were required. The increases that were required outside of the school, and it brings that municipal down to, I don't wanna say manageable, but some things are out of control, so.
I am hopeful. I cannot think of any major contracts that are up for next fiscal year, so I'm hopeful that we're able to avoid, I mean, the hydrant increases, the water rates, I think have already been planned. They accounted for, I think, all of that in this year. If they do another one, it would presumably be something minor, I think they did something, a lot of these districts often, like, they won't do a rate change for quite a while. And then they realize, oh, we're way behind, and then they are big, and so hopefully they'll come up with a way to do a more manageable.
Oh, absolutely.
Plan increase.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
contract
yeah,
is
that's
valid
it.
through the next fiscal year, so the union contract with the police is not up until the following year. So I'm hopeful that we don't have any big contractual
Yeah.
changes that we've seen in the last few years.
And I'd love to go a year without having to move a 3% increase.
3% increase?
Well, it was, well, the mill rate,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what it was, the mill rate increase the last
2 cycles of it, yeah. So, yeah, we got some stuff to work on, so,
We do.
all right.
Any other thoughts on that, as you've been hearing them, or suggestions that we should be sharing, or
No,
resources to create?
I'm just hearing complaints, and so people haven't looked enough to say, well, why don't we do?
Yeah.
But I, in turn, say, get involved,
Mm.
come to the budget meetings, come and see how we end up doing what we're doing.
and I've sent some folks I've talked to, I've sent them up here to ask, cause I told you there's a breakdown and it's really helpful, and I don't know if they've come in or not, but so, yeah, go in, just ask them about the tax bill and they'll, they can show you that breakdown, the percentage breakdown, and I think it's eye-opening, but it makes a little more sense, it's, because we're happy about it, but it's, okay, that's where it's going.
Right.
But, yeah,
And I think, but more than that is, okay, once they even understand where it's going, then what are we gonna do about it? That's the big thing.
Mhm.
Is there anything we can do about it? What can we do about it? And so,
There's also a revenue side too, personal property tax and other fees, right, so.
oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah, we can look at economic sides of it, right, you have that side where like, yeah, you get to a point where like you can't cut, you do need something coming in, and not all taxation, you look at, do you increase revenue through added business, we have a TIF district, we have these, I don't wanna say stagnant, but places that aren't, just start
Aren't
developing,
yeah,
and we have to be okay with development, yeah, to look at, like, things are gonna have to change, you're gonna have some development that will bring some, either some tax dollars in or something, and
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely, so.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
I would
two
think
sides to
about
going in, yeah,
planning and code in particular, where there's direct offsets, with the permits that we have in place. I know business licensing is another one that's kind of on the radar.
Right.
yeah,
I think what I've heard is I kind of see that more as a supplemental and a way to enhance our relationship with businesses as much as it is a opportunity, whereas the planning, the permit side of things in direct correlation to the cost to build, and you've got staff members that are here because the state says we have to regulate certain things and we choose to regulate more. But that's a more direct correlated cost, I think, to a building project than what we were thinking at from a perspective like a business licensing program. So
yeah.
for that aspect of what it costs to have a code and planning department, what percentage of that, would you expect to be generated from direct user cost?
Yeah.
And is there a percentage you wanna hit, let's say 50% of the cost of that department to be generated through permit?
Through
fees?
the permit, yeah,
You know,
well, at the very least, you have to, you almost have to break it down to. Cost per hour and see, things have to be covered, through whatever, that somebody comes in with a building permit and it takes X amount of time to process it.
Mhm.
The cost of that building permit needs to cover.
Right.
That time, it's, you have to be, yeah, cause it's hard to, with the business licensing, I can see it's not gonna be received well if it's perceived as a revenue source for the license. If there's a modicum, a small amount that covers the processing of it, and there's that, but it's not gonna fly. Yeah, I'm gonna say like, hey, it's a revenue source now, we're gonna try to make money in a place that already paying taxes and paying personal property taxes, so it's a third tax on top of that, so it's gonna be a tough one, but.
Well, sometimes Brunswick and Camden charge enormous amount of fees.
Oh, yeah, I got it,
Enormous,
yeah,
Up to $2,000
Yeah.
a year.
yeah, and that's something
Brunswick.
We charge up to
Yeah.
5 for certain,
we do.
You know, like what?
the marijuana
Marijuana.
establishments.
We have one,
Yeah,
we have,
well, yeah, I'm not even including them.
yeah. But,
No,
for the planning
you
stuff,
look at
yeah.
Brunswick and Camden, you'll see what kind of fees they charge.
Yeah, that's something, so,
and it works.
And they're they're comparable in the sense that they're also regional centers.
Mhm.
Brunswick is Camden more or less. I mean, it's more than Rockland, and they get away with it.
But you have to find your revenue somehow.
That's what folks are asking for those that
Exactly.
aren't getting a direct I'll say benefit from some of these, as they perceive it for some of these things. I mean, the school being a really hard one, because we got plenty of folks in the community that own property, don't have any kids in the school.
Right,
Family
yeah.
members, and that's hard to explain, it's like, well, that's the way it is. You
I know, that's.
more of
yeah.
a legal foundation of how taxation works than it is, direct benefit to you. And so we focus with them mostly on the municipal side of things, and here's where the municipal budget is and the spreadsheet I shared with you, and we can show them that. Well, you do have access to police, you have access to EMS services and fire services and trash services, and whether you're utilizing all of those or need to, hopefully you don't have to
Road
utilize some of those
upkeep,
emergency ones, but know that they're there to assist when you do need it. The plowing, the road, I mean, all of that.
Mhm.
You start to show, like, if you paid $5,000 in taxes, exactly how much of that bill went to fund any one of those departments.
Yep.
And in some cases, you're as little as $1 something on one of them to as much as, maybe $100 on one line. But it was a way to kind of show that there's a lot of services we offer, the different departments, and even that doesn't talk about what we offer, it just shows that we have different departments.
Departments for those, yeah, I think that's very
And
transparent.
that's, I think, where that strategic planning process, talking more about what people have access to, or what programs we offer, or what you're getting for it. Rather than, well, it funds the public works department, or it funds the police department, well, what does that mean? What do we get from that? Do we feel
Right.
safer? Do we see the roads improving? And start measuring those things that people are concerned about or sharing. And say, yeah, the roads aren't great. It's like, Western Road scores, probably a 4 out of 10 if we did the
Mhm.
assessment on it.
Yeah.
We expect it to be an 8. Okay, well, now we can directly correlate a cost to make it get there, and then we can start talking about whether we're satisfied with that.
Yeah, we could
level of
even
service.
compare crime rates, let's say us against some of the surrounding towns like Waldeboro,
Mhm.
make us look good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's easy. Oh,
Okay, fine, Warren.
okay, right. Anybody have anything else, to add to tonight's discussion outside of the topics we've been on?
Nope.
Good. Gonna sign some stuff though, I'll put these down, so, yeah, I guess if we're, sorry, Andrew, I'll pass it down to.
That's it for tonight.
We're all good, right? Yeah, I think we're good. I'll entertain a motion, I guess, to adjourn, and we'll throw that out.
Well, second.
Oh, all right, I'll make the motion, and Tom's gonna second, so, all those in